This is Ben Random, and this is Loose Lips. If you're unfamiliar with what Loose Lips is, it's a chat show here on Instagram Live where I speak with a wide range, varying different personalities and people looking to uplift the spirits of those who tune in and share and spread some beautiful optimism through these times for you to take forward in your journey. So I'm going to be speaking right now with a gentleman by the name of Pete Trifunovic. I'm going to ask him if I pronounced that right, actually, but he is an independent filmmaker amongst other things. So we're going to have a little chat, see all things Pete. He's joined the group, so if he sends me the invite, and then we'll be ready to roll. Shout out Danny Lawler and shout out Danny Mottram. Danny Mottram, you're becoming a bit of a regular on here. I respect it. Here he is. He sent the invite. So let technology do it. Connecting. Just waiting for it to connect now. Shout out anybody who's leaving any comments as well. Thank you all. Thank you all. Here he is. How are you doing?
Not bad. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Yeah, I didn't know.
I've made it. I've hit the big time.
Well, I had to. You know what, right? If at first you don't succeed, just try again. Because I had to try and try for you. It was my chat with Harry, wasn't it, that got you on board?
Yeah, I watched it in the bath, and I was like, "This is quality entertainment." So I thought I had to get involved.
When you're in the bath as well, that's when you properly relax. So that's when I know you've not just made it like, if you're on toilet on phone, sometimes it's impulsive, but in the bath you've got time to like relax and think about it.
Yeah, I was in it. I was fully in it.
How are you getting on, brother? How are you finding this whole scenario?
Obviously it's a horrible situation for loads of people, but I'm actually finding it really, really positive. Like I'm, getting lots of productive stuff done, trying to get some projects off the ground. So that's good.
When we first met, the main reason was one of your own projects, and I know you've gone on to be working on some of the biggest sort of soaps in history, basically. Bigged it up, then didn't I? Built it up. But they are. You play it down, but it's the truth. But does that take away from the time that you get to spend on your own projects?
Yeah. I mean, like before I started working full time, I used to be freelance in film and TV, and that you'd have like big windows of time in between shoots where you could like work on your own stuff. But yeah, obviously 9 to 5, you have a lot less time, and even at the end of the day, you're knackered, and it can be hard to like get into a project.
So was this giving you that window to then catch up in that, and then has it then giving you that zest for it as well? Like, do you think when it goes back to everybody been let out, do you think you'll still be able to be on it with those projects, or do you think this is a window to get them finished?
No, I think obviously once stuff goes back to normal, I'll still need to be chipping away at it. But yeah, I'll have got the train on the track during this time, so it shouldn't be as much work.
That's what I feel.
Once stuff goes back to normal,
I feel like it's fanning the flame. I feel like that's what I feel like it is. It's it never goes out. It never goes out, but sometimes it can just like dwindle a bit. But now I feel like it's just fanning it, and it's a big inferno that's coming through.
Yeah, that's it.
So, what are you able to give away? Any exclusives on what the current projects are? Are you writing, or is it somebody else's projects that you're looking to help produce?
It's written. It's a short film. It's a bit of a bleak subject, really, but important nonetheless. It's based on a news story I heard in July, I think it was, about teenagers in London, some as young as like 14, administering surgery on themselves, like sewing themselves up after being stabbed to avoid going to hospital.
What?
So obviously that's like quite a bleak subject, but on the other hand, I've always been like attracted to like self-surgery scenes in movies. Like in No Country for Old Men or like The Bourne Identity. It's kind of like a mini trope of its own, and it's like, whoa, this guy's so badass. He can like
Sew himself
completely
together.
deal with everything. Like, and I just thought in this new context, it's like a scene we're familiar with seeing, but suddenly it seems a lot more alarming and less kind of exciting.
Especially when you look at the fallout of why they're not going, is because A, they'll get in trouble, or the other people, you know, like it's such a weird like paranoia that's probably playing on them, as well as the stress of just being stabbed.
And I think especially it's especially important because they're like, you know, the story was about minors, and you know, even if you know the person doesn't want to go to the hospital because they are culpable, committed a crime or something, still as a society, like there's a reason that we don't like prosecute minors with the full strength of the law. It's because we have agreed as a society that, you know, we're somewhat responsible for their actions. Like they're not fully responsible for their actions yet. So if there's kids out there involved in gang violence, stabbing each other, like we need to ask ourselves what have we done wrong? Like how can we fix the situation?
So do you think that's some form of the subplot of the bigger narrative that people will take away from it?
I hope so. I mean, in terms of the message or like the political message or whatever, I'm really going to leave the audience to make up their own decisions. And the film kind of just starts with this young boy arriving home with knife wounds, and we just kind of follow him for the next 6 minutes as he tends to his wounds, and then that's kind of the end of the film. And it's like a real self-contained little scene. And you know, hopefully, I'd like the audience that'll trigger some thoughts in the audience, and they'll come away with either wanting to have a discussion or with, you know, with a particular message in mind.
When you come to creating films, how do you decide if it's going to be a short story or if it's going to be a feature length? Because obviously I know from the outset that sounds a bit daft, because people could just say, well, it's the words, it's the pages on the script that sort of decide that. But there's a lot of nuances in films, isn't there? Where, you know, I just saw that swing up and that was class. But there's a lot of nuances in film where you might be sat in a car with a character for 3 minutes of a scene. So you could easily extend a short film into a feature. And likewise, you could easily strip a feature down to the most impactful scenes. So how, when it comes to you, do you decide for which you wanting to do out of them?
Like the first project I ever did was with my brother and my friend Christy. We made a feature length documentary about a busker and his rivalry with another busker in Leeds. And at the time, we didn't really give any thought to, should it be a short, should it be a feature? We just kind of started filming. And it like 3 or 4 years later, the project finally was finished. And off the back of that, it means that when I come to a project now, it's like you give a lot more thought to like, what should the length of this project be? Because I'm not going to carelessly give away 3 years, 4 years to a project unless I'm like absolutely in love with it and think it's worth that much time. So yeah, most of the things I'm working on at the moment are like short projects that can be done inside of a year, and then if it works, great. If not, you're on to the next one, and you've not spent too much time.
It's got a trippy door. Say no more, cuz. Say no more, cuz. So it'd be funny if it was like literally a string on your arm. That's what's happening every time you drink. It's a string on your arm that's doing it.
And that's what it is. Yeah. No, it's my mum. She wants to watch, but I don't think she can figure out how to watch it on her phone. So she's just coming to get the live version.
Oh, bless! I love that.
But I've sent her out.
That's it. But no. So coming back to the difference between them, because this is only by speaking with different people from different sectors while doing these loose lips, I've really had it painted to me the behind the scenes of a film. So when I think of it being made, I never really gave it much thought, the pre-production and the post-production. So, like you say, a project might take a couple days to film, but even as a short, as you said, it could take months, even a year, to get it to where you want it to be and put out.
Yeah, like the last shot I did.
The award-winning short that you did.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I'll let you. So that was like, yeah, probably over a year spent working on that from having the first idea to filming it, then getting it finished, and then finished its festival run. So that was, even a short project can take up a lot of time, and it takes a lot of work.
Are they as satisfying? Are they as satisfying? You've sort of gone in, you've done your full feature length. I know that there's a lot of people that generally start with short so that they can put it on their sort of portfolio to then look to get funding to the trust of building up to features. But you've sort of gone in with features. The way that you crowdfunded it and really got a community of support around it, and just the whole idea of it, man. It was just rock and roll. It was cool. Like I really buzzed off. Like I
remember seeing you at the premiere.
Well, that's it. I really love surrounding myself around creatives, and I vicariously lived through that experience. I was like, they've done it. Like it's such a hat off moment. They've done it. It's mad respect. And it's like you've started there, but you've realised the time of length that goes into something like that. So you're now coming to shorts, but surely it's to build back up to do features again. So are the shorts as satisfying in that sense?
I think with the Busking Turf Wars, it was because it was a mockumentary. It was like it afforded you the opportunity for it to look kind of shit and rough around the edges, and the camera work can be a bit jonky because it's like in the fake world of the film, it's these guys following this busker and they don't know what's going to happen. But if I was to make another feature film that wasn't a mockumentary, that was just like a traditional narrative, I wouldn't be as happy with it looking as shit as that. I think with a short film, you kind of get to real focus on making it look and feel as professional as you want, and aiming for it to be on a par with kind of movies I love. So yeah, I think unless it would take an awful lot of money for me to make a feature, and to get it to the standard that I would want.
And is that still sort of the stepping stone though, where you're wanting to get to be back to making features, but as you say, with a bit more of a budget and maybe more of a refined narrative?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I'd love to make a feature film, but it's just need to keep plowing away and hope that sometimes an opportunity comes around.
I noticed that when you, again, award-winning, your last short, and it was at the Leeds Film Festival, you were stood with a gentleman. Are you now starting to get like a regular sort of crew that you work with? Like, have you sort of found the right people that you want to be creating with?
Yeah, well, Ibrahim, the lead in the Shakespeare adaptation, the short film, I met him on the previous thing I'd done, a TV pilot that you were in, Treading. And then off the back of that, we were just keen to do another project together because he had kind of supporting role in that pilot. So yeah, we got together again, and he was great to work with again. And I do kind of work with the same actors again and again, and crew as well. Just because if you have a positive experience with someone, if you work with someone new, it's a risk. And you can just as easily work with someone that we worked really well together.
Do you write with them in mind then, in a sense of, is it Ibrahim, did you say? Sorry, you cut out then. Yeah. Whoa, where's he gone?
Yeah, Ibrahim, yeah.
Ibrahim, sorry. So, yeah, now that you know, like, him and you get to speak with him and maybe have discussions about the wide range that he has, and do you then tend to find projects with him in mind? Or, like, for example, the one you were on about with the knife wounds, how's that been created? Who's written that script, and has it been written with him in mind? Is he involved in it?
No, I mean, no, I do have another project I'll tell you about that I've got him in mind for. But no, the knife crime one, it's it's like a 14-year-old boy, so I don't think his acting skills are quite to the level where he can convince us he's a minor.
It's not James Van Der
Um,
Beek.
no, but no, I was actually looking at the first ever moving image. The first ever film was filmed in Leeds.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Louis
in
Le Prince.
Louis Le Prince, yeah. There was one in Roundhay Gardens and then one on Leeds Bridge.
Yeah.
And then another one he filmed his mate playing an accordion, or his brother, I think. Um, and I was reading up about this Louis Le Prince, and he actually went missing.
Yeah.
Like, no one knows what happened. He went missing in strange
Have you
circumstances.
heard the
And,
conspiracy?
well, he went missing on my birthday, September 16th. So
Mate, I
that's just
think
like
Tupac
another
died on
like
your
cool
birthday
element.
as well.
Really?
I,
Oh, let's drink to Tupac.
Tupac. Far out some 40.
Yeah, for my homies.
But no, man.
But yeah, I
So
was looking at this. I was looking at a picture of Louis Le Prince, and it looks remarkably like Ibrahim. And I think in this, like, now colorblind casting is like something that's quite done quite often. Like there was that newest David Copperfield film with Dev Patel in the lead role, and like the new BBC adaptation of Les Mis was like completely colorblind cast. And I think we're in a time now where I could just cast a South Asian as this Frenchman, and like no one would care.
is he from Leeds?
Ibrahim, no, he's from your neck of the woods. He's from Bradford.
Way, but it's still West Yorkshire, so it'd still be good like playing that like because it is. I think it's one of those. I always see the plaque and I always give it an acknowledgement, but I don't think a lot of people really know the backstory to it. And I think if you think about important and everywhere motion pictures are in society, and that it was birthed in Leeds, like that should be one of the biggest things that the city should be known for.
Yeah, I know exactly.
But the story goes that there used to be these worldwide conventions. So when Edison and Tesla were having
Tesla, yeah,
beef with AC and DC, that's where Tesla went to show that his current was a lot, more energy efficient than Edison's. And what Edison did is it's proper tight. This I'm not the whole I'm laughing, but it's just a crazy thing. But it leads on to Louis. Basically, what Edison did is he paid people to steal the pets of the village or the city where the convention was happening, and then he says, "Look, these pets died by Tesla's electric." And he was electrocuting them, but if any electric's going to do that, but the way that he spun it with the propaganda was, he's
yeah,
got bad electric, don't use it. So that put Tesla's out for a bit. But the reason I link it up is because now that you know the form of Edison, the rumor is that when Louis Le Prince went to trademark the rights of motion pictures, he went missing mysteriously, and then who cashed in the motion pictures? It was Edison. So there's a
yeah,
conspiracy around maybe Edison had him bumped off so that he could,
yeah,
allegedly, of course. But
yeah.
yeah.
Well, maybe we can find a part for you in it. Maybe you can play
I mean,
Edison.
I'll be Edison. I'd love to be Edison. Just like give me some wily eyebrows. Just like I'd be a bad boy Edison, mate. I'm telling you, that'd
Yeah,
be gangster. That I'd be well
yeah,
up for
yeah.
that. But going back to the forming of that, then. So it comes from an idea. Are you a writer as well? Then are these projects that you are writing?
Not really. I wrote the knife crime one because there's like 2 lines of dialogue in it, and it's mostly just action, and that I can write because I'm just writing what I want to see. But as soon as people start talking, I can't write that because
What like dialogue?
yeah, it just sounds shit to me. Like there's like 2 lines of dialogue in the knife crime film, and I was happy writing them. But if it's like a film that's driven by conversations by people interacting, um, I just hate whatever I write.
Someone's just put.
So
Oh, sorry. Go on.
no, so I'd have to Coyce can play
He'd
Edison.
make a great Edison.
So yeah, I'd have to find someone to write that project, I think.
So, where would you say your strengths lie then within the filmmaking process? And would you get involved with? Would you maybe not write essentially, but if it's an idea like you just had there, would you sit in the writing process of it?
Yeah, yeah, I'd like to develop it with a writer and kind of us work on it together. There's another project that I've got a writer working on at the moment that we're kind of. I just read it each time he writes a draft. I read it and then say, "Oh, I like this. I don't like this bit." So it's a good relationship to have. In terms of my strengths, I don't know. I think the staging of a scene like that, the Stranger's Case, that all takes place in one room, and there's about 6 different groups of people, and we filmed it all out of order. So kind of staging that and making sure everyone was in the right place at the right time, and you always knew where you were in the scene. I think that was really tricky, but I was happy to. I feel like it worked in the end.
Have you been to uni for that sort of experience, or has all this come through the back of Busking Turf Wars and you sort of learning as you go, and it's just how you feel fits that works within the scenes? Because it's clearly working.
Oh, good. Yeah, I went to uni in Leeds. I went to Northern Film School and did screenwriting and cinematography as my specialisms, neither of which I do at all anymore.
So, I think one of the things that Busking Turf Wars would have given you as well is that whole getting it into festivals.
Yeah.
Like, you'd think that the hardest bit is getting the film done, but it's actually getting it seen.
Yeah. Well,
What's that process like?
me and my brother and Christy, we had such a blast going around to film festivals with that film, and we had no business being there because we made the movie for literally no money at all. And then the next thing we're in a film festival in Texas or in Canada or in Vermont, and yeah, we obviously we never knew when this was going to happen again, so we all just got as much of it out of it as we could. Went to every festival and met as many people as we could, and really made the most of it. So that was good. But when we sent it off to festivals, when we got the first yes back, we were so surprised because we'd worked on it for so long, and obviously we knew that it cost nothing, and we knew that how much of it was shot. This was shot in 2012, this was shot in 2015. We knew it was to us it made no sense. So the fact that someone was like, yep, this is a film, we'll put this on at our festival, it was just such a surprise to us.
Was that hard to stitch? Because, different years, so much can change within people's appearance.
Yeah, loads of the movie takes place on Briggate, and the amount that Briggate has changed from 2012 to 2015, you wouldn't believe. By the time we were shooting, I went to on one of the few last bits we shot was me just getting general views of people on Briggate, just busking and looking around and stuff. And I was so limited in where I could point the camera because that whole new Top Man frontage, Victoria Gate, that was all there that wasn't there to start with, and there were just so many shops that didn't exist anymore.
Do you think that these are issues and sort of hurdles that now that you've tackled obviously pay big significance to when you are coming up with future projects? I wouldn't even have considered something like that getting started.
What, Busking Turf Wars?
No, the scenery, the actual aesthetics of
yeah.
it, the whole
and
you can't plan for that. You can't plan for all of a sudden 500 million shopping centre being built and.
Yeah, and Christy grew a beard as well. Christy moved down to London and grew a beard, and then I would occasionally ring him up and be like, "You've got to come back up to Leeds. I need to get a shot of you walking out of this, this shop where you work or something, because I've edited it together and I've realised I'm missing just this one shot." And I'm like, "Sorry, you've got to shave. You've got to shave your beard." And he his weight, he started running and he'd lost 5 stone, but. In the final film, you don't notice. So
no, you don't. Until you've said that, I didn't pick up on anything like that. Do you feel that your brother and him will work again? Work
I think
together
so, yeah.
again, sorry. Because your brother's in Canada, Christy's London, your Leeds. Is it quite difficult to get yourself all over one project again?
Yeah, I think I'm sure we will at some point in the future, but you know, as you say, we're all in different parts of the world. But my brother, he's just got like a load of funding for his next film, and Christy's like doing his musical comedy
Yeah,
and
so
stuff.
yeah,
So
talk to me a bit about that. Is he doing stand up?
it kind of, I think he started doing stand up, but he couldn't quite figure out what kind of stand up he wanted to be. But he's always been really musical. So he got like a loop pedal, and he does these like live, you know, creates music on the spot,
Like a comedy Ed
um,
Sheeran?
yeah, pretty much, yeah, yeah, he's really good.
No, he's got a presence about him. You can tell. You can tell. That's what was so good about the Busking Turf Wars is, and maybe that's well, yeah, definitely that's what the film festivals will have seen. It's not about the money, as some comments have been coming, and I think it's while people are watching it on Zoom. That
Yeah,
could be a
yeah,
cool
yeah.
thing. There's different ways where you could get people, if you're looking to still monetize it, pay for a personal screening as well. So there's different ways that you could definitely do it. But I think a commentary angle would be amazing. Because I just wouldn't want it to just, you've put so much into it. And as I say, there's a real like camaraderie around it. I remember Prince, he told me when he was working at a port on Call Lane, and when you're from the city of Leeds or around the city of Leeds and you recognise so many places, it has that familiar edge to it, and it just felt like the city was rooting for it. I remember when
And
the stage people came into it, and it just felt like everyone was on it. It was like, yeah, there's this, and they're doing this, and so it'd be a shame for it to just sort of just linger or dwindle
yeah,
somewhere.
and obviously like the final section of the film takes place in Oporto, and I worked there at the time, and there's just like so many random people like actually even playing roles and stuff like, oh, that's him, that's him, that's him. And
Yeah,
on the Brigate scenes, there's like, because obviously I spent months just watching it. I always spot people in the background, like just walking down Brigate, like, oh, there's him. And people who don't even know that they're in the film, but they are.
that's it. I know you had Mickey Piquet as well, busking at start as well.
You always tell me this, but I've never seen him. I don't know
Well,
where he is in it.
it's like the first scene or something, and he's just like strumming away.
But does he not have like? Does he not have the curly hair that he's got now?
Yeah, he's got curly hair.
I need to watch it again. I'm because obviously I know what Mickey looks like. I've seen him on here and on like Britain's Got Talent and stuff, but I've never seen him in the film.
Honestly, right, when that comes up in the commentary, just like, Ben Random, he spotted
Yeah,
that. There you
there he
go.
is.
Wait. I
Yeah.
just mentioned it. Perfect. Well, you know, like when you've sort of done something like that, is it hard to find work in a paying role still within the industry? Because you've managed to do it, but a lot of people would have maybe had to go back to do a bit of a 9 to 5 that they don't want to do to fund the dream of what they want to create. But you've still managed to maintain employment within the industry. So how was that that step into that?
It's always just in different roles. Like when I used to work in like TV dramas, it was in the camera department, like right at the bottom of the camera department. And then now I'm working in the script department. So I'm just doing what I can to keep it ticking over. But no, I'm not quite at the stage where people are paying me to direct yet. But that is obviously the goal.
But you're still managing to maintain yourself within the industry.
Yeah, yeah, and it's good to like even no matter what production you're working on, I'm learning stuff. Like I never watched soaps, but I am learning stuff on Coronation Street, like watching the directors and because it's the speed at which they film. Like we film like 41 pages of script a day, which is like essentially like 41 minutes of screen content. And you would be lucky to film 4 minutes of content like on a feature film in a day,
Do you,
if that.
would you be able to take that across, like that efficiency of it? Because we had Chris Fountain on, who was Tommy in Coronation Street and Justin in Hollyoaks, and he was telling me that the way that scenes are so disjointed, where you could have it where him and Michelle Keegan were shouting at one another because they'd had like this raging argument, and then the scene after was in the show's sense of story 2 days before, so they're all lovey-dovey. And he's like, what's crazy is they have, no matter what happens, they have to turn that show out. They have to produce it. Like,
Yeah.
so is that something that you can take with the efficiency, or do you think the slow natured pacing of a feature film would still be there?
But it's like, it's not, you say slow natured, like even when you are filming something that's not like, so it never feels slow. Like it still feels just as fast, but it's just, you're kind of less forgiving of, or if it doesn't look perfect, or you spend a lot more time on the lighting and the blocking and stuff. But that's not, I'm not disrespecting soaps, but like they just have to keep moving because it's going to be on telly like in a few weeks' time. Like they've just got to keep moving. But yeah, I think definitely I'll try and bring some of that pace to my next project. But you've always got to keep one eye on, like, I want this to look as good
The
as it possibly
quality.
can. Yeah.
Who do you look up to? Which screenwriters and people associated with film? Who do you look up to?
Like, no, I'm not that much of a cinephile. Like no one like
Really?
super. Like I like David Fincher. I like Michael Mann, Wes Anderson. Like just kind of the populist filmmaker. Quentin Tarantino, Spike Jonze, people like that. Like I'm not super into like real hard work art house movies.
What got you into it? Where did your interest come? And do you remember when you were younger, when you knew it's what you wanted to pursue?
We just always, as a family, we just always, like every Saturday night, we'd watch a movie, go down to Blockbusters and rent a movie and like eat pizza and watch a movie as a
So
family. And
how much older is your brother than you?
4 years older, and he went to uni to become a lawyer, like got a law degree, and then we'd both just decided, oh no, we'd rather try and make movies.
So was that like a collective conversation that you both had, where you just felt, because one thing that I don't know what it is really, why it is like this rather, but if you're not in the right environment, you don't think that things are possible to be done. And when I was speaking with Danny DeVille, he's a director from Bradford. He was saying the same, like growing up from that area at that time, it didn't feel like you could be an actor, you could be a director, you could see these things on TV or the big screen, but it never really etched in your mind that you could be one of those people that could actually be doing that. It was just always what other people did. So do you remember that conversation when you were both like that with each other, where you were like, you know what, this is something we should actually pursue, and that was the passion that you wanted to follow?
It's just like you just do it because it's what you want to do, and you love it. Like you're the same. Like you would be doing what you're doing even if it wasn't having any results, even if there was no feedback. Like that's just what you want to do, and like there's nothing gonna deter you from that course. So I've had a tiny amount of recognition, but even if it doesn't go any more than this, I'm still just gonna keep trying and keep making movies. And even like The Stranger's Case, that was made for like £2,000. If I could find someone else every few years to give me £2,000 to make a movie, I'll be happy.
What's amazing again is like the recognition that your work's already been received, though. Like that must show you that you have something, because the projects that you've done have all been recognised on some level.
Yeah, and I think I've got like a bit of like self doubt. Like The Stranger's Case, I only sent that to Leeds Film Festival because I live in Leeds, and I thought, oh, why not? And then off the back of that, it got, because Leeds Film Festival's BAFTA accredited, so then we submitted it to BAFTA, and it got longlisted for a BAFTA. And I don't know how long this long list is, but it's almost the short list. So that was just like a bit of a wake up call. Like I should have definitely been pushing this film a lot harder and been a lot more proud of it. So I think next time I'm not going to take any prisoners.
So is that again the motivation within the next projects that you'll feel that's the angle you want to take it?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's always good to have a goal, even if it's a superficial goal, like I want to get nominated for this, or I want to, like, it's just something. It's just something to aim at, and I think that's always helpful because when you lose your way, you can just like look towards that. Like that's what I was after.
Ibi Connect. Do you know Ibi Knunt? Knunt?
That's Ibrahim.
Ah, yes, easy, brother. Respect. Yeah, this is Louis Le Prince. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's put Ian McKellen knows about Stranger's Case.
yeah.
Done Russell Brand as well.
Yeah. Well, that's how the guy who provided the funding for Stranger's Case. I'd heard him on Russell Brand's podcast talking about Shakespeare and talking about this British Black and Asian Shakespeare database that he made. That's like a big history of all the contributions made by Black and Asian actors to Shakespeare performances. So I emailed him and said, rang him, sorry, and said we want to make this film with an Asian actor in the lead role, and it's a Shakespeare adaptation. So he provided the funding for the movie, and then once it was all finished, he sent it to Russell, and Russell Brand did a tweet about it saying like, "Oh, I love this film," which was great because me and Ibrahim are big fans of Russell Brand.
That's crazy, man. Like there must be a lot of crazy stuff. How many of those coronas have you had, mate? No, it must, stuff like that must again build you. You know, you said like you can be a bit self-deprecating on yourself as in putting stuff out, but stuff like that must show you that you're on the right path. You know, you have got an ability.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, and then Ibrahim, because Ian McKellen's been quite famous performing this same speech that we adapted the film from. So me and Ibrahim have always said like, oh, it'd be great to get Ian McKellen to see it. And then Ibrahim took it on as a bit of a personal project and just like kept hammering away with emails. And then eventually one of Ian McKellen's daughters or something like sent him an email like, yes, Ian's seen it. Thanks very much. So we got there. We did it.
That's amazing, man. And then I suppose the final few from me is, in this downtime with your projects, do you tend to put a deadline on stuff, or do you think that there should be a freedom with creativity? Because that can work both ways, because if there isn't a deadline, it could just keep dwindling. But then if you put a deadline on it and you put that pressure, it could almost contaminate the quality. So how do you find that balance?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm quite harsh on myself. Like, I've suddenly got completely free time, nothing on my schedule, and I still just feel just as anxious and just as busy as I was when I had not very much time. So I think partly it's just in my head. Like, you've just got to make the time productive, even if it's an hour or if it's 10 hours. But in terms of deadlines, no, I don't. I think as long as it's still ticking away, like I'm working with a producer on this knife crime film, and he's like cracking the whip and making sure I'm doing stuff, so that's good. But no, I don't think we have any specific deadlines in mind.
And the final one from me is, how do people, or how do you sort of acquire your cast?
Like I've never had particularly a lot of money to play with in terms of cast, so I've always just cast projects either from people I know, like around Leeds, who have got something about them, or from Star Now, this website called Star Now, which is like a casting website, and it's got some kind of ropey people on. Like, it's not for like the absolute professional actors, but you find some absolute gems in there. Like, that's where we found Ibrahim, and he came down to audition, and like he thought it was like a hidden camera show. He thought it was like a prank show because he couldn't believe that like we wanted to put him in this pilot episode.
What did do you think there's anything more to come from Treading?
I don't think so. No, it was. I was really proud of it, and but I just don't think a pilot episode. It's got to really tell you what you've got to watch it and know what all the episodes are going to feel like off the back of that. Whereas Treading, it kind of was a bit meandering. Like it, what if you watched it and I said, okay, what does episode 2 feel like? I don't think you'd be able to tell me. Whereas if you watch the first episode of The Mighty Boosh or something, you'd have a pretty good idea of what the rest of it was going to feel like.
I don't know. I think when I watch Treading and Ibrahim's put, "Do you want more treading?" and yeah, if I've got a bigger part. No, I enjoyed it.
I watched your little bit this morning because when you said, "Oh, you should share that you're going to come on," I was like, "Oh, maybe I should share that clip of Ben in Treading." But you absolutely nailed it. That's one of my favourite parts. Are you finished with the battleships?
Yeah, I've come from an all-nighter as well on that. I don't think I'd slept.
Oh, really? Well, you couldn't tell. You looked fresh as the day.
Just rock and roll, you know what I mean, mate? Me and Liam Gallagher rock and roll. That's what we do. But no, to sort of give you an analogy on that, I think if I were to look at Treading, it was clearly a bit like Busking Turf Wars, really, where Christie's character he was trying to make a bit more of his life. Like it's just and yeah, I'd have seen it that it was getting in more different encounters, and you know, was it to follow the band angle or was it not? And you know, go after his missus and.
Christie wrote it. I didn't write it. I just directed it. So I think it would have felt like I entered it into a few festivals, but I think it would have felt a bit strange if I was the main one, like pushing it. It was kind of Christie's baby, and I don't know. I think he's really proud of it, but I think he was just keen to get on to the next project and you know, try something else out.
Do you think that's important, knowing when to leave projects behind? Because, as I say, going back to Busking Turf Wars, there's so much passion and love and energy that's gone into it. Like, when do you know when to leave something behind?
Yeah. I know that's a $1 million question. I don't know. I think you know though. Like I know, like I had a real fun time with Busking Turf Wars, but I'm not like, oh, we should make a sequel or anything like that. I think you know when it's like kind of run its course and if there's anything more to be mined there.
I think that could be developed into a TV show. I really like the guy who was, shout out Ricky Burwell in group. I really like the guy who was the arch nemesis.
Will,
he was in Treading as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he played the coffee shop owner in Treading.
Yeah, you see, I think Busking Turf Wars could be made into a TV show, adapted.
Yeah, well, I'll let you. Well, you've got. I'll give you the copyright. You can do whatever you want.
That's all I've ever wanted. You've only ever wanted to appear on this, and that's all I've ever wanted. No, honestly, brother, it's got something about it. Do you know I'll get in it? I'll get Mickey P. Kerr.
Yeah, get him in it again.
I will, but honestly, I think it's got legs. But yeah, I suppose when you've invested so much into something, you know when it's good to like step away from it. So fair, and also that then gives you more space to create new stuff and your new project sounding exciting, especially the Louis Prince one.
Yeah, you're not feeling the knife crime one.
I'm feeling it. I'm fully feeling it.
It's just a bit dour for the dark times.
Do you know what? Right, like. I know it's probably a cliche to bring this example up, but you know, when you watch something as gritty as Top Boy, like that could have been a documentary. For a lot of it, it felt so real. It was visceral, wasn't it? It was like, whoa, like this is like a side of London that is familiar for so many and hidden from so many. So something like what you're on about, and especially when we spoke about it, the nuances where what you want people to take away and the sort of the subplot of it, almost society's responsibility almost because the miners. I really like that. I think for me, the thing with the Louis Prince is because of the whole Edison angle. I think it could be rather flamboyant and playful and almost Phileas Fogg.
Yeah,
you know, like Around the World in 80 Days vibe, like that.
If you go on Wikipedia, there's like 4 different theories for how he died, and like one of them is the one you said, and then there's another that he commits suicide, and then there's another that like his brother killed him for his money. So like it'd be fun to kind of just almost rewind the film and play
Yeah,
out each one of these different scenarios.
that'd be
But at the
amazing.
end, we're
That'd be
still going
well
to be non.
cool. That'd be
Yeah,
well cool. And almost, do you remember the books Choose Your Own Adventure as a kid?
yeah.
So you could,
Goosebumps.
yeah. Well, then, so you've got your one path, and then it could like intersect with it. Yeah, that'd be really fun to get involved with, actually.
Yeah.
Well, maybe there's our collaboration. I've already got the copyright, so alternative ending cost shoots me in the back alley. But no, I'd love to get involved with the Lula Prince project. So if you're up for that as well, let me know, mate.
Yeah,
Because I feel
yeah,
like that could be
absolutely.
well
You'll
cool.
have to take your piercings out there to be time, so that we believe that you're a man in the 1900s.
I'll I'll airbrush it out.
All right, okay.
Those are my terms on my rider.
All
But
right.
no, of course we could definitely do something like that. But no, fair, brother. So many great ideas flying around. Respect to Mary Proppins, who's been getting involved, and thank you for everybody who's been getting involved in the chat. I'm just scrolling through, see if there's any other questions that have come through, but doesn't look like just some pointers really. But brother, thank you very much for your time. I'm glad that you changed your mind in the bath. I'm glad
Yeah.
me and Harry changed your mind in the bath.
It was a great chat. It
Brendan's
was a
just
great
joining
chat.
in. That sounds as wrong as it is.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
I hope your mum managed to get to watch it as well.
Yeah. Well, I think she might have to watch it on Facebook later in the week. But I think she's going to give me a telling off now for being so rude.
Yeah, very big balls on here, and then you get. Yeah. But nah, mate. Honestly, I want to just conclude by saying, you shouldn't underplay yourself, mate, because the stuff that you are doing, it is getting noticed, and not only that, there's a lot of people that are supporting what you do. Like, there's a lot of energy that's sent towards you because there's a lot of belief in your ability and what you're able to produce. So, be upbeat about what you're doing, mate, because you have got ability at it, man. You definitely have, and I'm here to support it, definitely, and getting involved as well. So keep up the good fight, my brother. Stay safe through these times. Enjoy
Right
to
back at
see
you.
the projects that come through, and yeah, let's see if we can collab with some other bits as well, man.
You're a shining light in these times. I love what you're doing.
Thank you, brother. That's what I'm here to do. That's what I'm here to do. Thank you. You take it easy.
All right. Take care, buddy.
Peace. There we are. Pete letting us know about his dealings and goings on in the film world and where he wants to be and how he's been finding it with his independent projects. So yeah, thank you for everybody who's been in the actual group. If I didn't get to read any comments out, apologies about that. I'm going to be concluding this interview and then starting another chat in 10 minutes with a lady called Sarah Story, who is a presenter on Capital FM, also a singer. She's actually unbelievable. She's like the queen. She's wifey material, definitely. So definitely clock onto that at 6. I'm Ben Random. This is Loose Lips. All the chats that I've been doing will be up on my YouTube channel, which is called Pop Cult Chic. And if you're new to Loose Lips, what it is, it happens on a Monday and a Wednesday when I speak with varying different people from all sort of backgrounds, just to get their story and inspire people during this time. Stay safe, stay cool, stay indoors. We'll get through it and we'll be stronger for it at the other side. Peace.